Alright, so this has been one of my most requested topics to make a video on, because a lot of people have requested me to look at what this hidden door is here in LEGO Star Wars 2 for the DS. So that's what we're going to do in this video, so go ahead, sit back and enjoy as we take a look at another one of this game's weird secrets. But before you do, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I haven't really ever mentioned this before, but if you would like to support the channel in some way, you can go check out my Patreon page, and with that you can have your name put at the end of these videos, which would also be really cool. But now with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Alright, so a little bit of backstory first. If you're looking at this game and saying, wow, this doesn't look like the LEGO Star Wars 2 I'm used to, well, that's because it isn't. The DS version of LEGO Star Wars 2 was wildly different compared to the console version that you're probably used to. I'm not going to go too in-depth with this because I do have a video already about this game, but essentially TT Games didn't make the DS port of this game. They outsourced it to a company called Amaze Entertainment, and they released this game in a very unfinished state. Looking past the weird cutscenes and all of the weird mechanics, this game is absolutely riddled with issues, and that's why I'm surprised that this game has gathered a huge following over the years. I mean, heck, most of you guys that watched this channel probably watched a LEGO Star Wars 2 DS video first, and one of the biggest questions I see people have about this game is what lies behind this door in the cantina. Well, to answer that, we're going to need to unlock it first, and the only way you can do that is by completing the game. And no, not just story mode or free play, no, every single part about this game. You have to 100% the game before this door unlocks. And anybody that has completed this game knows just how tedious of a process that is. And heck, there's a lot of people out there that have said their games are so broken that they can't even 100% the game. So I can definitely see why this door has remained a mystery to a lot of people. But if you're like me and have painstakingly completed this entire game, you can arrive at this newly unlocked door called Sandbox. And yes, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's just the sandbox level. Now, I'm not really sure what the purpose of this level is or what it's even really here for, but they did give us a few things to do in this, so we're going to check that out. For some reason, before you start the level, it gives you the option between story mode and free play. Since there's no hidden areas in this level, there's no real point in playing story mode. All story mode does is lock you to two characters, Slave Leia and that little monkey thing that lives in Jabba's palace that I forgot the name of. And since there's no real incentive on playing this level in story mode, you might as well just go ahead and play it in free play. So after you pick your character, you are dropped into this level. And the first thing you'll probably notice besides the endless amounts of low resolution sand is that this control's completely different. The control scheme they use in this is more like the bounty hunter arena that they have in this. And if you don't know what that is, that's just a multiplayer mode they have for this game, but I sadly don't have any footage for it. After you walk around this level for a little bit, you'll probably start to wonder if there's really anything to do in this level. And believe it or not, there is a few things, so let's go ahead and go check those out. So the first thing you'll come across are these two barges, and they're pretty much set up the same way that they were in Chapter 2 of Episode 6, so I think they're pretty much just ripped from there. You can get up to them by using this elevator here, and I highly recommend using a jetpack character like Boba or Jango Fett. They just make traversing these levels a whole lot easier, especially here where you need to fly between these two barges because they didn't add bridges to them. And they also didn't add a way to get to the second barge, so it's really the only way you can get to it. But really, the only reason why you would need to go to the second barge is to take a look at this giant space worm they added here for some reason. I don't know why this thing is here. It pretty much has the same animation that it did in its cutscene in the asteroid field, but I don't know. Maybe this level was just used as some sort of test level, and maybe it was just here so they could test the animation for it or something, and this is just what we got. So after looking at that, we'll fly back over to the first barge and pull this lever. And all it does is spawn in 3 stormtroopers, so hey, it does give you somebody to fight in this, but other than that, it's not really that interesting. It's just normal stormtroopers, and you kill them, and that's it. So there's nothing much else to do here, so let's go find something else to do. Alright, so the next interesting thing we're going to look at is, well, this area, because if you pull the switch right here, it spawns in these created characters. Yeah, for some reason this switch just spawns in your created characters you have on your save, because you see some of my characters like Darth 3PO and the other Darth Vader with the pink stormtrooper outfit and the Han Solo cape. I swear, this game has the best character creator out of any LEGO game. You can create some of the most wacky characters you can ever think of. It just lets you do pretty much anything, unlike some of the other creative character modes that you get in other LEGO games. But either way, that's not too important. These characters really don't do anything to you. They just walk around. I guess you can kill them if you want to, but other than that, there's really nothing else to look at here. Oh, and before I forget to mention, there are a bunch of like buildable objects all all over this map. You got some snowmen for some reason, because that makes sense in the desert. You also have some fossils and like these random skeleton things that kind of just do this dance. That's kind of weird, but yeah, we do have to remember what game we're talking about. So as you keep walking around this map, you'll probably end up stumbling across this Sarlacc pit eventually, and I'm not really sure why it's here. The only thing I can really think of is that this map is just being reused from the episode 6 level, which would make sense why the barges are where they're at. But other than that, this doesn't really serve any purpose other than just something to fall into. But hey, there's another lever here that extends this plank, and all it really does is let you fall into the middle of it. So yeah, there's really no point in this even being here. I think it would have been a cool idea if they put that space worm like in the middle of this thing, and it kind of just like came out and it would have been like some sort of boss battle you had to do. I don't know, it probably still wouldn't be very good, but it would be a lot better than what we got. Alright, so moving on from that, we'll keep walking around and find yet another lever. You kind of see a trend here, don't you? But either way, to put it simply, whenever you pull this lever, it makes you massive. I'm not really sure why this is here, or if they were maybe thinking about adding this to the game in some way, like an extra or some certain level that would need you to do that, but no, I just think it's really weird that they added this. I mean, this would have been really funny as an extra. Imagine trying to use this in a level like Indoor or something and just completely breaking it because you're so big. After walking like this for a little bit, I began to wonder what would happen if I jumped into the Sarlacc pit. And well, I got stuck. I don't know really what I was expecting to have happen here. I guess I just figured the game would break a little bit more than this. But hey, I did manage to free myself somehow, so let's go walk over to the next thing. And believe it or not, it's actually not too far away from where we were at. So you climb this hill, and where you see these ships kind of flying around, you'll find this broken turret. So pretty much all you do is you rebuild this turret and kind of start shooting these little tiny ships. It's kind of funny looking at them, actually. They're way smaller than what they're supposed to be, and their movement just looks weird. But I think this actually is probably some of the only like real gameplay you'll get in this entire level, because unlike everything else that kind of just demonstrates something, there's actually kind of a clear objective here, and what you do is you just shoot down all of these little ships. The only problem is there's no real way to aim with this turret, so you kind of just shoot at these things not knowing if you're actually going to hit them or not. It was pretty much the same concept whenever you were fighting Boba Fett with this thing. You just shoot and hope you hit what you're trying to aim at. But whenever you destroy all of the ships, well, you don't get anything in return. Nothing happens. You would think after doing this you would get some sort of collectible or some studs, even though studs mean absolutely nothing now because you've already 100%ed the game, but it's kind of odd that you don't get anything for doing this. But after that, we have one more thing to look at, and you guys have probably already noticed it in the background there, but we're going to take a look at this giant Ewok. And yes, you heard me correctly, a giant Ewok. Alright, so I have no idea what this thing's purpose of being here is, but it's here, so let's take a look at it. So pretty much there's nothing really that special about it. It has all of the normal Ewok animations and everything. The only thing that's different is that if you get too close to it, it'll start to chase you around, so that's something. So essentially what they've made is just an Ewok boss battle for this. I played around with this for a little bit. Now, I never got the Ewok to actually damage me in any way, but he does try to chase you around like he wants to attack you, so I just assume that's what he's trying to do. After a little bit, I started to get the idea about using that switch that makes you really big. At this point, I'm starting to think that the switch has something to do with this Ewok, because why else would it be here? So I pulled the switch and went over to the Ewok, and nothing really changed, but I did try to shoot it and it actually took some damage. So then I began to wonder if this thing could actually be killed or not. So I kept trying to attack it, but it's actually kind of hard to hit it because I've noticed that it doesn't always register the hits on the Ewok that it should. You only really hit him once every couple shots. I don't know if its hitbox is really bad or what, but it's super annoying. And I also noticed that there must be some sort of timer on how long you can be giant, because randomly after a little bit you just go back to your normal size. But after a little bit I was able to kill the Ewok, and you guessed it, absolutely nothing happens. But hey, I guess you could say that they gave us some sort of boss battle in this, even though it was, well, that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's really nothing else to look at in this level. We pretty much explored everything that's here, which isn't really much, but hey, at least we were able to see what this is. A lot of people haven't made it to this, so I know this video will be pretty useful for people who wouldn't want to play through this entire game to see what this is. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I have a lot more videos coming in the future that I know you guys will like, but either way, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.